People ask about branding all the time. I can't think of another topic that they don't inquire about more often. It seems to be kind of a mystery to a lot of people. And I have to tell you, what I'm going to share with you today came out of a conversation I had with Brian Jameson, who is somebody that probably many of you know. And Brian's a very disciplined marketer, and he came here from Ontario, and he's lent his capability to quite a few organizations here. And we were talking about branding every day, and I said, you know, Brian, like, this whole thing about branding, like, what's that mean to you? And he said to me, he said, you know, Dave Nichols, does anybody know who Dave Nichols is here? Okay, that's interesting, okay. Pardon? Right on, that's it, okay. So does everybody know what President's Choice is here? Okay, let me ask you this way. Raise your hand if you don't know what President's Choice is. Don't be shy. Is there anybody who doesn't know what President's Choice is? Okay. Do you know that there was a world not that long ago where there was no President's Choice? There was, I swear to God. Yeah. And so Dave Nichols was the, I'll call him the head of marketing for Loblaws, which included the superstores here. In fact, he introduced the superstore concept in Atlantic Canada, but right across Canada. And so that would have meant that he was the head of marketing for Save Easy stores at the time. There were quite a few Save Easys then. There's still a lot now. But he introduced the superstores, and he introduced the President's Choice brand to Canada. And created it, actually, I say to Canada. He created it in Canada for Loblaws. The only place where you can buy President's Choice is in the Loblaws-owned or Weston-owned chains, as you probably know. And so, why would he have done that? I mean, why, anybody have a notion as to why? Why would Loblaws, why would Dave Nichols have created President's Choice? What was the purpose of doing, what was the business reason for doing that?
White label.
Pardon?
White label.
Okay, white label. So why was that important?
So that
Better
he was the
ROE.
only,
Yeah, yeah,
so he was the only one that would carry it.
yeah. And so why is that important?
So that you want it, you have to come together.
Okay, so you could increase your store traffic because people want that product, and that you would capture people who might be headed to Sobeys. They want President's Choice. They can't get it at Sobeys, so they now go to the superstore or wherever, right? Okay, so what else? Anything else?
Branded.
Pardon?
It's branded.
It's branded. So why is that important?
To make sure that people, if they trust one product, they'll think that if the same company makes another product, then they'll automatically trust the next product because they were happy with the first one.
What's this? Anybody know what that is?
iPod.
Pardon?
USB adapter.
It's an iPod thing? It's an iPod USB adapter. It's not. What is it? Uh-huh. And what did you say?
It's an iPhone or an iPod.
It's an iPhone. What does that mean?
It's an Apple product.
It's an Apple. Oh, it's an Apple product. You're sure of that, are you?
Pretty sure, yeah.
You're pretty sure of that. Why would you? How would you know that? I mean, it's just a piece of, like, it's what probably costs 30 cents to make. Why would you say that?
Because it's recognizable.
What's I mean, how could it be recognized? Just a wire.
The ends are, I don't know, branded as Apple.
I don't see the word Apple on it.
Because
It
unfortunately,
looks like Apple.
Well, it looks like Apple.
It's white, first off.
It's white. Okay.
So
you're pretty sure this is Apple, eh?
White, first off.
What if I told you it wasn't Apple?
Oh, really? Well, then
I'm just asking. What if I told you that? You still think it's Apple? If I tell you it's not an Apple product, you think I'm lying or kidding you, or
At first, yes.
at first? Yeah, now you're not so sure. Okay. Well, actually, it is an Apple product, right? Okay. But that's pretty interesting, eh? So I get up here, I stand up here, and I got this wire, right, with some ends on it, right? There are other ends that are kind of like that, USB ports, you know, or USB, whatever that's called. There are hundreds of millions of them around the world, right? But you know this is an Apple product, right? Something about it, right?
Because it's not black.
Doesn't say Apple on it, doesn't have an Apple logo, right? But you're pretty shape of the ends, and it's white, okay? I'd say they've done a pretty good job of branding this, right?
Yes.
Right? Like an astonishing job, right? So we're beyond logos, right? Yeah.
they didn't do a good job at branding it. They did a good job at doing a unique one that's only working for Apple.
Oh, okay.
Because USB is universal.
But that's not. I'm not gonna. I don't mean to challenge you here. That's not how you knew it was an Apple product, right?
Yes. For me, yes.
Yeah. What did you see?
It's the wide.
You saw the wide end, and you saw that it was white.
The whole thing.
It just looked like an Apple thing, right? Okay. So does anybody here have an iPod?
I saw the white first.
Does anybody here? You have an iPod with you? Anybody have an iPod with you? With them?
I have an iPhone.
Okay, let's take an iPhone then. Actually, you know, it's okay. I'm going to use my own in that case, okay, just to help you along. It's fine. I thought if somebody had a, oh, yep, there we go. What do you got, an iPhone, iTouch, iPod? Okay. Okay, is this an okay, you like this, do you? Yeah, is it better than my BlackBerry?
Yes.
It is, yeah? Better than my BlackBerry? Okay, that's good. Is it worth more than my, would you pay more for this than my BlackBerry?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's great, thank you. So, okay, so I'm just see if I have no prepared presentation, but I do have props, okay? So what's this? Okay, that's an iPod, okay? So how much does an iPod cost, roughly? What does that cost?
Which cost, the market cost or
What,
the actual?
no, what does that cost if you go to buy it in the store? What would you pay for that, roughly?
129.
129, okay.
It's rounded up 200.
200? I think it's 200. I paid 179 for it. I paid too much, probably, right? Yeah. So what's an iPod?
Piece of tin.
What is it? So, yeah. MP3 player, right? Yeah. Okay. If we were to leave here now and say we're going to come back with an MP3 player, okay, in a half an hour, okay, how much would we have to do? How much would he have to spend to come back with an MP3 player?
$10.
10 bucks. Okay. Maybe 30, maybe 40, maybe 50,
All of mine
but
cost 10.
not 179, right?
Nope.
Okay, so why would anybody pay $179 for something they could buy for 10, 20, 30? They want the brand, okay?
They want to be an Apple.
So I'm just making a point here. The reason that Apple have been, as an example, and there are many others, one of the reasons that they have really, really emphasized their brand and the uniqueness about it to the point where I can stand up here, you can recognize it right away, you can recognize even the cord, right? Is that they get the spread, or their system gets the spread between, let's say, 50 bucks and 150. It's an extra $100 for fundamentally
Marketing.
the same product, right? So the reason you do it is you could just, it's a better business model, right? You can, it's just that simple. And so I'm simply making the point that one of the reasons that branding is so important to a business is that it increases your margins. And if you go to President's Choice, that's the reason that Dave Nichols came up with President's Choice. It was twofold, really. You captured one of them, is that you've got a unique product that you can only buy there, so that if you want that, that's going to increase your store traffic. But on the other hand, if you really want it, you're happy to pay more for it, and they're going to make more money when they sell a package of President's Choice than they would sell for the identical product or something very, very close to it that was, you know, say a household brand, right? So that's kind of one of the huge business reasons that you're going to do that. And then some of the other reasons would be that you'd have increased brand loyalty. There's probably people in this room who would, they'll tell you, generally if you ask people, they'll say, well, I'd only buy President's Choice such and such, right? Or, you know, if I'm going out to buy a jam or, you know, spaghetti or whatever it happens to be, or cookies or whatever, I'm looking for a President's Choice. There's only one place they go, and they're happy to pay somewhat more, whether it's 10%, 20%, 30%, but the Weston's chain, shall we say, gets the spread, helps them build a more robust business, keeps their shareholders happy. Ostensibly, they can have nicer stores, they can have better infrastructure, do better training, pay their people more, and all of that.